You're on CYInterview.
I'm Chris Yannick, featured columnist Jay Bilstein is with me today on CYInterview. We welcome Dustin Drai. He is the Vice President of Entertainment at Drais Beachclub Nightclub and After Hours. Drais is located at the Cromwell Hotel and Casino on the Las Vegas Strip. Dustin, thanks for joining CYInterview this morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, well, we're so excited to have you. So just before we get into everything Drais in Las Vegas, you're part of a family with nightlife history. Tell me about that and what that means to you.
So, my dad started Drais about 25 years ago, 26 years ago, and it's always been a part of my blood. I've grown up going to meetings when I was 5 years old, 10 years old, 15 years old, all the way up to when I joined the company. And it's exciting to be a part of a brand that's been in Vegas for so long, which is synonymous with Las Vegas nightlife. And it's exciting that I'm able to be a part of the future and continue to grow something that's been around for so long.
So what do you think, speaking of that, has made Drais such a staying power in Las Vegas on the Strip where there are so many entertainment options?
I think that's what's made us different is that we're able to change. We're not afraid of making something that works and changing to maybe something that we don't think will work today, but will work 5 years from now. When Drais first opened in 2014, that was when a lot of the big DJs had just started taking off, and that was when all these clubs had all these huge residencies and DJs, and our vision at the time was, let's go back to making the club the star. So my dad's vision when we first opened the rooftop was, I don't want to pay big money for big talent, I don't want to pay big money for entertainment. I think that we need to get back to people coming to the club and being able to interact with each other and having fun just to be with other people. Very quickly, we realized that that was not going to work and that we had to change. And if we wanted to survive in this new nightlife world, we would have to rely on entertainment. And I think what's allowed us to be successful is we weren't afraid of doing things that other clubs had not thought of. So we started to do live entertainment. And I think in 2015 and 16, when we first started doing these live shows and live performances, other clubs weren't doing it because they thought they were too complicated and, everyone just wanted the DJs and the house music. And we were like, well, what's different? What can we do that's different that people would still enjoy? And as we started doing these live shows, more and more people started to look at what we were doing and say, oh, that's a great idea. And as we, over the past 6 years, continued to grow and establish ourselves as the live music nightlife venue in Vegas, we've really created something that's extremely special.
Well, in your position at Drais Beachclub Nightclub and After Hours, you've really come up with this idea that artists and celebrities should perform for a much longer set than like about 15 to 20 minutes, which we see at a lot of these nightclubs. You think they should be performing for almost an hour. So tell me about that concept.
We wanted to give the consumers something that they could go home and say, wow, I had an amazing night. We didn't want to just give them an artist performing for 10, 15 minutes or a couple songs and say, well, I saw this artist and they did one or two songs and I got to see them for 5 minutes and it was fun and whatever. We wanted to give them a full concert. Our nightlife venue is set up to provide our patrons with a full live concert, and we want to give them 45 minutes to an hour, and we believe that the customer is able to go home a lot happier and more excited to spend the money that we're asking them to spend at the club when we're giving them a 45-minute show. So that was the first thing that when we started talking about doing live entertainment, us as a team were very strict on we want it to be a full 45 minutes because it's different. It's not something that other clubs are doing. We want to be unique in what we do, and that was just how we kind of started. And obviously a lot of artists at the time were hesitant to do a full 45 minutes because they said, oh, well, 45 minutes is a concert. So if it's a concert, I need a live band, and I need this, and I need that. And we said, sure. And when we were saying yes, we want the live band, yes, we want all the production, and we want all the lighting and all the extra things that come with the live concert, a lot of the artists actually got excited, say, oh, that's actually what you want? You want a full show? And our response is, yes, we do want a full show. So it's something that is different than other clubs, and it kind of makes us unique. And when you come to Drais, you can really expect a full concert.
Jay?
Dustin, I can certainly understand in the age of the Internet and YouTube that there are a lot of people who want a live experience, right? Because there are a lot of things, you can look at things that are what I would call canned, pre-recorded, whatever term you want to use, by just hopping on YouTube. And look, we live in a world of screens now. Some people look at it on their phone. Some people look at it on their tablet or on their laptop. Other people are, watching on a pretty big screen at home. Still, there is this tremendous desire for the live experience. However, I've always questioned the popularity of the DJs, but not simply in terms of what the public wants. Do you really believe the multi-million-dollar deals that we read about with DJs are profitable for the club?
I believe that every nightclub has their own strategy in how they look at their business. So I'm sure, most of the people running nightlife are smart. They're not. Everybody understands their own business strategy. So I wouldn't say that I think they're profitable. Do I think that paying lots of money for DJs makes sense for Drais? No, because we've established ourselves as a live entertainment venue. So it's hard to. I'm not in those rooms and having those discussions with agents and the teams of the other nightclubs and so forth. Do I think that some of them are ridiculously expensive? Yes, I do, but hopefully for them it makes them money and they're able to stay profitable from it.
When I take a look at the nightlife industry in Las Vegas, and I take a look at nightlife in New York, and I take a look at nightlife in Dubai and Ibiza, there are certain things that I see are shared in common, and there are certain things that I see as being different. With that in mind, what do you think makes Las Vegas and a Las Vegas nighttime entertainment venue different than some of those cities I've mentioned?
I think that we get the fact that we're able to get hundreds of thousands of new people every single weekend allows us to have the ability to have these performers every weekend and pay these performers and DJs what we pay them, because we're providing an experience to these people that they can't get almost anywhere else in the world. So when you're considered the entertainment capital of the world, you have to live up to that slogan, and you have to provide to the customers a level of entertainment that they wouldn't be able to get in a New York or LA or any of these kind of smaller markets. Even though they're huge cities, they're still cities that have smaller nightclubs that those clubs don't need to have the level of entertainment that we do. They're also the sheer size of our nightclubs here in Vegas. When we're putting 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people, how are you going to get 4,000 people to come to a nightclub if you don't have a level of entertainment that draws them to come to the club? So I think that we're in a unique city where, because of the amount of entertainment options and entertainment that we provide, from boxing to UFC to now the Knights and the Raiders and all of these different entertainment that draw people to the city, the nightlife venues themselves have to provide the same level of high-end entertainment to make the experience what people want when they come to Vegas.
You said something, Dustin, that I find very, very appealing, and I think of if we could create a kind of a business case study. I remember many, many years ago, you had Coca-Cola. We still have these brands, Coca-Cola and Pepsi. And it always occurred to me that Coca-Cola sought to keep their beverage the star, not a person associated with Coca-Cola. And then I think about Pepsi, and I can think there were different iterations of ad campaigns where for Pepsi there were different very, very famous pop stars who were utilized in some excellent, excellent ads, but I've got to think that those pop stars got paid an awful lot of money, and ultimately that affects the bottom line. You mentioned this kind of initial idea about going back to the notion of keeping the nightclub the star. Isn't it fair to say that Drais is a star in its own right? Even though it does have live entertainment, you have created a specific cachet for the club that even goes above and beyond who is performing at a given moment?
Yes, I definitely think that ended up happening. The original idea of making the club the star ended up working out in the long run because of exactly what you said. We were able to find a market that no other club had really tapped into and make it our bread and butter, what we're known for, what we're good at. The level of entertainment and the type of show we're able to provide to the customer is unique to Drais specific, and we were able to make Drais the star. Now, it took 7 years to really establish that, from the original idea of no entertainment, you're just going to come to Drais because you're going to have a great time, to now people don't even know who's performing at Drais, but they just know, hey, if I'm going to Vegas, I can go to Drais and get a live show from any of these A-list artists that will be performing there, and we're going to have an amazing time, and it's going to be an amazing night, and we don't want to go anywhere else. So I definitely think that over time we've been able to establish the Drais brand as something unique and specific and something people are able to enjoy, more importantly than anything else.
I believe you have. I mean, you were able to get traction, create market penetration, and leverage that market penetration by virtue of the live acts into making Drais a premier venue and night spot that stands on its own 2 feet, and in a place like the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, that's no small feat. What's on the horizon for you good folks?
So for Drais, we're going to continue to do what we do and just continue to make it better. Every day we look at our business, say, how can we improve? How can we make the customer experience better? What new artists are around that we haven't had perform at Drais, and how can we make the show experience better? So it's not about what's new and changing what we do. It's about improving on what we do and continuing to make it a better end product for the customer. At the end of the day, we are in the hospitality industry, so the most important thing is for the customer to come to Drais and experience an once-in-a-lifetime or unique experience that they're not able to experience in their hometown or anywhere else. And, you know, after 7 years, you have to continuously change to improve yourself. If you don't try to improve, you become stale, and if you become stale, then people are going to go somewhere else. So we want to continue to be the number one, you know, live nightlife venue in Vegas, and we want to continue to improve on what we do and just make it better.
And, of course, you pointed out something very key, which is a lot of nightlife venues do not have a long shelf life, and you guys have, in relative terms, created a venue that is enjoying a long shelf life, and I believe that by any metric will continue in that direction. We can look at some of the cities I mentioned before, including Las Vegas. A lot of places come and go. And so in a very competitive industry, you found your secret sauce, and it's working, and that is beyond commendable. That is really an amazing feat. So we take our hats off to you. Chris?
Dustin, final question. Rick Ross, of course, is going to be performing at Drais on New Year's Eve. Is it fair to say that the New Year's Eve weekend is the biggest weekend of the year for the nightclub industry?
I would say it's one of the biggest weekends of the year. Memorial Day, Labor Day, and New Year's Eve are kind of, we would say, the top 3, and then you have the outliers of any sort of fight night. So whenever Floyd Mayweather or Pacquiao or any of these big, the Canelo fight we just had, those weekends tend to be some of the larger weekends of the year. New Year's Eve has become known in Vegas because they shut down the strips and the fireworks and so forth, but you know, any of the 3-day weekends are kind of huge weekends, and for New Year's Eve specifically, we're extremely excited to have Rick Ross perform. It's going to be his first New Year's Eve performance at Drais. He will be doing the countdown at midnight, so it's going to be a beautiful night. I would just say make sure you dress warm, because it will be cold, and in years past it has been extremely cold, and the beauty of Drais is we are inside and outside, so you are able to experience the fireworks on the strip and then go inside and get an amazing show from Rick Ross.
Sounds great. So for Vice President of Entertainment at Drais, Beachclub Nightclub and After Hours, Dustin Drai, featured columnist Jay Bilstein, and CYInterview, I'm Chris Shinnick.